Hey everybody, so it's Marty the JavaScript party and Rhett. She's actually in the cage, so you can barely see her there. I don't know why she decided to go down there, but she did. She does her own thing. I did add a few things to what I would do different in my README yesterday after the show. So yeah, I definitely would rather animate at the attribute level, not in the object. For some reason, I thought having a list of objects. I don't know what I was thinking. It definitely doesn't. I it The way animation works now is you have an animation tab, and then you get everything that's listed, and you get a list of attributes that you could see, and then you see them all together. And I don't think that did not that wasn't good. I didn't like that. So and then grouping meshes and lights. So yeah, right now there's no concept of grouping multiple meshes together and lights, and I don't even know how that works. I know that you can group things together, and then I don't know if, like, let's say the X for something, if you have two meshes and the X for one of them is 2 and the other one is -2, I think you can move the whole group and then they stay relative to each other. And then if you were to change one of the actual meshes thing to 3, X to 3, X attribute to 3 would shift over relative to the other ones. So, I don't know. It would be really cool if we could play around with that, but that shouldn't. Another thing that I definitely should have done um, is, and I did this, I ended up doing this for lights. As I noticed, I did not do this for meshes, is each item should have its own showtime ID that is independent. I don't know how to spell that. Independent of the ThreeJS ID. And the reason we needed that was because, like, when we had animations and things were moving around, like if you change from one kind of mesh to another kind of mesh, the original ID stays the same. But if you change from one kind of image light to another kind of light, the the ID changes, and that caused all kinds of problems and made the animation code a lot more complicated than it needed to be. So that is another thing. All right, so now we have our um, component, and we can change. We have a mesh service, and we can. Seems like all we have to do is change this mesh item shape and say if it's a cone geometry, then geometry weight get this weight, and this set it to a cone geometry. So yeah, it looked like get geometry was a little bit complex, and it looks like I by default set it to a box geometry, and then change it if it's something else whenever you add a mesh. So let's do this. Um, that's kind of weird because it's under add mesh. I don't think you can. Let's look for this text here because it seems like that would be an update mesh, right? But maybe up. I don't. Yeah. What is this? Update mesh. Okay, so okay, but if it changes, if update mesh and mesh shape is equal to text, then geometry new 3, sphere geometry near 3. So it seems like this is where that happens. I guess that other code was there. Let's look for this text because I felt like I guess it's in, maybe it was just there just in case the default is ever. So this is update mesh. I think that makes sense. And then, yeah, we're checking stuff. Okay, so so I definitely should say check for the word new box geometry. Okay, there's 3 places where we say new box geometry. This is in add. This is in update. Then this is also in update if is equal to new. Okay, oh, because you have to, whenever it changes, new sphere. So, okay, so if one of the attribute changes, I guess you have to create a whole new one. You can't modify the existing geometry. You have to create a new one. So I guess it seems like this is the place we want to do it. And I guess it kind of seems like the text is kind of its own little adventure over there. Okay. Missing okay, so and then I guess this oops. And then geometry. And then here, let's maximize this for now. Okay, so we set it. Okay, so looks like there's a problem with this typing. So, oh, probably aren't even, we probably need to. Okay, so I was happy with that. And then, so it sets up the mesh and then, okay, so update. So this is weird. Okay. Oh, okay, so this checks to see if it was changed. Okay, so you changed it from one kind to another, and then we're saying, hey, you know, if we updated it, and then if sphere and update, so I'm assuming we're gonna have to do something. If text, then do this stuff. Okay, so I guess we did something like this, where we said if it's a cone geometry, I'm gonna change this to cone. And then I guess we have to force it to know that it's a cone geometry. Apparently we have a type here that needs to be updated. Conversion of a 3 geometry, a geo, apparently has to be a 3. Let's see, update mesh, go to definition. Okay, so supported meshes. There's something called supported meshes. Go to definition. Supported meshes, go to definition. And then we get say or. Guess we'll put it in here. or a cone geometry. And we'll just hit the Alt and the back button, Alt back button. That error should have gone away now. I feel like something is crazy here. Okay, so if mesh is cone geometry, so this was showing an error before. That is now, appears to be happy now. So we're saying that, hey, if the radius has changed, what do we do? Because for the sphere, all it has is a radius, but here we check the width, height, and depth. Okay. So we need to check for in the cone or the height. Yeah, I don't really like this. Or geo.parameters dot height is not equal to mesh item dot height. And then geometry is a 3 cone geometry. 3 cone geometry. And then parent, okay, so that's happy. And then I believe it was radius. The first thing is radius, the second is height. Man, there's a lot of other stuff you can do. Open end, false, theta start. Oh, okay, so that would be like, anyways, so it looks like the second one is the height. And now, so we have our new geometry. And then text, was there something else that happens here? Okay, so this is rotating. I guess that happens to everything. False. This is taking care of the mesh materials. That should be good, and that should be good. And I really don't understand. I think on the ad, I must have just had that in there just in case the default was ever like a sphere or ever something else. So I don't know. With any luck, we can make it into a cone. Oh, yeah. I don't know if it works. 10. Yeah. 3. Oh, that is nice. I like it. 2. 1. Okay, let's animate this thing. And then let's change its rotation. I guess it's its Y rotation. Oh no, is it not? 2. Oh, okay. Y rotation. I guess it was rotating in the middle. So 3. Now I wonder if we made it we changed it. And so yeah, so this is one of the things that I really like about this application that I think was a real win, is that like all this rotation stuff and all that just animation stuff just works. We didn't have to do anything. Oh, not a Fong, a normal. So that's pretty neat. Change this to 6. I don't know, it's weird. I feel like, okay, so it's starting 6 point, okay, so 3.14, 6.28. And you know what's really strange about this to me is that it is rotating like around the middle, and I feel like everything else was rotating sort of on the bottom. So let's try Z rotation. That is so cool. Let's just get rid of this one. Yeah, it's like rotating along the middle, which I think is really cool, but like, not exactly. Oh, we already have. Let's make that 0. There we go. I think that's a little bit more sane. Um, I'll get this one down to 0. So I think what's happening right now is it's rotating vertically. It, I guess it's like 1. Okay, so 3, and then animations, and we'll come over here. I think it's the Y. Oh, so we needed to add some special code to be able to animate the. It's weird because the mesh is the only thing, but it's not showing the value, and we had to add like a bunch of hard coded stuff to get that. But it's weird that it's not working at all. I wonder if we're getting a console log error. Yes, we're not getting a console log error, but oh wait, sorry, I wasn't looking at the rotation. Okay, so we want to look at the rotation. Okay, so the Y rotation is the one we want. X rotation, I just want it to stay there. Okay, so we can't see anything happening. Let's see, Y rotation. See, it's rotating along the y-axis right now. So, so I'm going to have it rotate around the x-axis. Zero. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to go on the y-axis. I'm going to have it stay where it's at. 8. All right, so that's interesting. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get rid of the animation. Let's make this 0, and then y is 3. So we don't see anything when we change this one. Z is 3. Let's go with 1. Change that to 0. So it is interesting. Oh, because it's rotating around the middle. I guess what's happening is you can't, until it's on its side, you can't really tell that it rotated. So let me see, turn that back on, and I'm going to change the Z rotation to where 1. Yeah, I like that. Go back to the Y rotation, make it start at 0. So that is that. Yeah, it looks like everything is good. I think this is a little bit more complicated, the mesh, than I had remembered it. I think I got confused by the ad because it was so simple. I was like, oh, this is gonna be pretty simple. I think this is harder than I would like it to be. Um, Trying to think if there's any lessons to be learned here, like, so I like the fact that we check to see if this has changed, and then we do this difficult, probably pretty damn expensive process to create a new thing. Um, I'm guessing that at some point I check to see, and then I would just do an add or whatever. Um, so since the geometry is really the only thing changing, that's probably why the mesh item isn't. So the mesh, because then, okay, once we have a geometry, we take the mesh and we do things to it. So like a mesh, let's see where our mesh. See here we get our mesh, which was created by 3JS, but the mesh has two pieces to it. It's got um, the geometry, and then it also has the light. So you can make changes to the geometry, I guess, and you can make all kinds of changes to the geometry, and it's still going to keep the same mesh ID. You can change the materials; it's going to still keep the same mesh ID. And then when we create a mesh, when we add our mesh, um, we get the mesh ID, but we never have to create a new mesh again, right? Like the mesh gets we create this mesh and we push it in there, and the mesh never ever changes. I guess that's why I never ran into the ID issue. If I actually had to change a mesh, I don't know what you would change in the mesh, why you would ever change the mesh, because the only parts of a mesh are um, like a the only parts are like its position and stuff. Um, but with the lights, we a light isn't like a combination of two things, and then you change one of the things inside of it. You actually change the light itself, and so I guess that's why I have issues with lights changing, but I don't have. Okay, so because that's really interesting. Because even like the text, which is a very different kind of thing, you change the geometry of it. Um, so because I've been very curious, like why can I change from a like a cone to a cube, and then I never even have like a oh, I've got it. Yeah, that's a nice experience. Um, and then I never ever have like, and I don't change IDs. Like it doesn't change the ID, and it's because a cube is a geometry, and a geometry is part of the mesh. But when we are the lights, a light is a light. It doesn't. It does. It's not part of a light. It would have been really cool if they had set that up originally. Like if a light was like multiple parts, so you could actually change the underlying part of the light without changing the actual thing. So it might even make sense. I wonder. I wonder if it makes sense to make everything a group, and then you just change the and when you change it the group ID doesn't change, and you're just moving the group. I don't know. And then you can combine groups and all that. I don't know, maybe that would be see that would be a perfect example of like, okay, I have a vague idea, it seems kind of weird, so I'm not really willing to go with it. And then in my next thing that I'm going to build starting next year, maybe we're 3, 6, 8 months into it, and we're like, dang, you know what? Everything should have been a group. Blah 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 blah. And then we go, okay, yeah, okay. So we're just gonna play this POC out till the end of the year, and then we're gonna start that one with the general concept that all items are groups, and that so that when you change, so that you don't change IDs. But maybe it does. Maybe it's not gonna be a big deal because I'm gonna have my my Showtime ID on everything, just like I did with lights. And so even if the ID changes, it doesn't matter. I just got to make sure I change the what it's referencing to, the ID it's referencing to, not try to change, not not try to use the ID that it gives me. So maybe I'm insulated from that. Anyways, 20, gosh darn it, 25 minutes. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.